Greetings once again, ladies, men, and non-binary friends. Since I am fully committed to embarrassing myself on the internet in the year of our Lord 2019, and I am no longer going to hold anything back in terms of my life. 4 years ago, I was writing a fan fiction that I didn't finish because of events in my life that happened. I was writing a fan fiction based on auras, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. I can't even fucking say. What I'm trying to say is I'm hardened shipping trash. And if you don't know what hardened shipping is the term for shipping Archie from Team Aqua and Maxie from Team Magma. These two nerds right here. These guys are my main nerds. And I was writing a fanfiction about them because I just couldn't get them boys off my mind. I'm gonna read this fan fiction to you. I am also 100% committed this year to finishing it. I was gonna call it, if I remember correctly, I used to have the chapter titles have like names. I was gonna call it The Devil in the Dead Sea. And it was gonna be a play on like, cause you'd think, right? This is like the twist, that Maxie would be the devil because like red and fire and all that stuff. And obviously Archie would be the sea because Aqua, ocean, but that's not at all what it was. The devil is referring to Archie because he's like, he's really like boisterous and out there, and Maxie thinks of him like the devil because Archie is constantly challenging him to face his internal demons, whereas the Dead Sea is because I see Maxie as very dead inside. I mean, look into those eyes and tell me that that man is not dead inside. Also because Archie loves the sea, and Archie clearly has a lot of deep feelings for Maxie. And in the Dead Sea, the Dead Sea is really full of salt, and we use it a lot for like beauty products, but nothing can really grow or live in the Dead Sea, which is why it's called the Dead Sea, at least to my knowledge. But it's very beautiful to look at, and that's kind of how I view Maxie. So without further ado, the first few chapters of The Devil in the Dead Sea. I'm reading it off my iPad, just so you know. Oh god, here we go. Okay. Chapter 1. Maxie, stuttered a man as he fearfully opened the door. Team Magma's esteemed leader was sitting on the other side of the room, on a velveteen chair of deep red, flipping through some old papers and files. What? Maxie said abruptly. Oh, I need to do like a Maxie voice. What? Maxie said abruptly, without even flitting an eye toward the admin. Tabitha frowned. He had been working with Maxie for years, and his terseness still caught him off guard. There's a situation I think you should know about. Maxie's fingers froze on the page. Without another singular movement, his eyes glared up from his glasses to Tabitha coolly. What do you mean, situation? Without even stopping to hear what Tabitha had to say, Maxie's lean figure rose from the seat and glided over to Tabitha, each step accentuating his words. You what? You insufferable fool! You what? I made Maxie have severe anger problems because of his repressed sexuality, as we're going to find out through the entirety of this fanfiction. While Maxie and Tabitha stood nearly the same height, Maxie's sharp wrath was just tall enough to make those petty inches seem infinite. Tabitha shrank, turning his head slightly to avoid the pierce of his leader's gaze. Look at me when you're speaking. You will address me with your eyes when you are speaking, or I will give your job to someone better qualified. If I edit this, I would take his anger down in the first scene probably like 10 notches. He's not this angry the whole fanfiction, I promise. He's still pretty angry though. He's an angry boy, okay? Well, it's kind of hard when you're standing practically on top of me. Maxie paused for a moment and, maintaining his gaze, stepped back only a few feet. Perhaps he'd given Tabitha too much ire for letting the child intruder escape yesterday. It was time to loosen the reins, if only slightly. Oh, he has a reason to be pissed off, and it's because the protagonist of the games had escaped the magma lair. There we go. There's at least some context. Maxie isn't just that much of a bitch. Yet. He couldn't let Tabitha get too comfortable in his position. Not after an error as grave as that. What happened in Slateport? Maxie asked without emotion. That's where you were, weren't you? I was on my way to Slateport and... Maxie furrowed his brow, but allowed Tabitha room to speak. Unable to finish his sentence, Tabitha reached for his pocket and pulled out the newspaper he had snatched from Forchi City. I think you should see this, sir. Maxie's eyes fell upon the image on the page. He reached for it carefully, as if the safe transfer of this document somehow had an effect on their mission. While Maxie grudgingly skimmed over it, Tabitha felt the need to fill the silence with, I think someone working for Stern destroyed the submarine parts. I can see that! Maxie fumed. Don't you think I have even the simplest powers of deduction? Of course Stern dismantled the submarine. But how can you tell? It doesn't say. Maxie raised the paper as though he was going to strike Tabitha with it, but as he saw the big man with her, he lowered the page. Maxie was gonna hit Tabitha with the newspaper! Can someone animate this someday? If I ever get more than like 40 views. Also, by the way, if you're dirty-minded, there is not a lot of smut in this fanfiction, thank you. There's actually hardly any smut. It's mostly fluff. Because I am wholesome. Okay, we're back. I need to spell this out for you, don't I? Maxie said calmly. He lowered his voice and articulated each word deliberately. Stern got the tip from the boy. Hey, that wasn't my fault. Tabitha's flustered excuse was cut short by Maxie. That was entirely your fault, and you're lucky I don't discipline you further. Maxie turned to carry the paper back to his place in his chair. I am aware of the fact that several of our members rushed the basement to try to stop him, but the simple fact is that you were not there. Courtney did what she could, but not enough to prevent him from disabling the vital parts of the submarine. Now, we would have just stolen more parts from Slateport, but it appears we're too late for that one too, aren't we? Maxie gave him another patronizing eye before sitting down. Punctuality, Tabitha. I think it would bear you a great benefit to learn the definition. There are so many savage lines in this fanfiction. I'm just gonna tell you right now, there is some shade thrown all the way through. It's great. Tabitha looked wordlessly onto his leader as Maxie pressed his fingertips together in deep thought. After a heavy silence, Maxie explained. The boy, Brendan, and the girl, May, are both working for the Pokemon League champion, Steven. And that spoiled, meddling son of Devon's president knows more about things that aren't any of his business than any man ever should. You see, when Brendan uncovered our plans to use the submarine, he no doubt informed Steven, who then alerted Stern, who ordered that the parts be destroyed, Tabitha finished. Precisely. So what do we do now? I will find alternative means of transporting our team to the seafloor cavern. In the meantime, Tabitha, I want you to stay as far away from me as possible. Tabitha looked up to Maxie, confused. Maxie persisted in his decree. Out! Now! Without another beat, Tabitha turned around and scuttled out of his leader's office before Maxie could throw him any more shade. I told you. Maxie sat there alone in the quiet of his office as he again studied the words on the page. Slowly, he rose and looked to the painting on his back wall. He had it commissioned to be a painted replica of the mural in Granite Cave, a daily reminder of his ultimate goal. Maxie traced the figures of the two primordial beasts with his eyes. He marveled at the glory of their power, land and sea, and reveled in the fact that somehow, someway, one would reign victorious over the other. And, with his extensive knowledge and guidance, after decades of research, combined with the power of the red orb, he could bring Groudon to its rightful victory. But his eyes strayed from the graceful wrath of the red flame to the bold fearlessness of the crashing waves, and in that moment he was faced with the sickening fact that he knew what, or rather who, his current situation obliged him to summon. Dun dun dun! I don't know if we're gonna end it there, if we're gonna keep going. Let's see how long this next chapter is. I think we're gonna cut it off there for part one. Leave you on a cliffhanger. I'm gonna let you guys know right now it's Archie. He has to talk to Archie. I know that this is coming out of literally nowhere, like 5 years too late. But this is the year of me digging up old shit from my past and just laying it out for everyone to see. So from my heart to yours, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of whatever this is.